Wolf, welcome back to Big 550 KTRS.
Well, hi, McGraw. It's good to be with you.
You betcha. So a couple of years, while we all have been changed and watched Ferguson unfold before our very eyes and touched in many different ways, and you decided to commission a play called Until the Flood, which is now, I guess, opened up off Broadway and is receiving rave reviews from the theater community all over the world. We wanted to have you come on and talk about Until the Flood, so thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks. Yes, Until the Flood just closed off-Broadway, New York at the Rattlestick Theater, and then goes on to perform in Chicago, Milwaukee, Seattle, and Portland. But we commissioned it using Dale Orlando Smith, who is a solo performance artist. And one of the things we wanted to do, I mean, the explosion in Ferguson is so complex, and I wanted to address it in a way that made sense. And Dale came to town and did a series of interviews all over the city, north, south, east, west, in various neighborhoods, and compiled a cast of 8 people, and she plays every one of them: old women, young men, whites and blacks. And the remarkable thing about Until the Flood is that it didn't accuse anybody of anything. It didn't yell at anybody. It just presented a picture, a mosaic of our complicated urban area here. Yes, indeed, we were thrilled that when it opened in New York, we got above, as they say in the business, above the fold, in the Friday New York Times review, mentioning our name, which was a very big deal, and the same in Variety, the industry Bible. So, and other news organizations covered it because of Dale's remarkable performance, but also this unique story that she tells of St. Louis. So it's very special. We're really proud that we could commission it. That is getting national attention. That's pretty wonderful.
It is fantastic. When you commissioned it, that's a new phrase. I've heard people say we wanted to write a story. We set out to. I've never heard anybody say they've commissioned a story. So, did you set any parameters? How did that work exactly?
No, I mean, we contacted Dale because we knew her and knew her work as a solo performance artist, and said, we think there's a story here to tell that may fit in the kind of work you do as a gifted artist, and it did. And she went to town, and, she spent a lot of time in town, interviewing people, talking to people, and then went home and wrote. And I remember Seth Gordon, my associate, and me, Neil Keller, who directed the show, and Dale, in December before we did it, sat in a small studio in New York, and she read what she had written to us, and we thought, there's a play here. But we had to make sure that there was something that had dramatic potential and that could be really intriguing, and again, would not implicate anybody or yell at anybody. That people were afraid somebody was going to get up there and say, you're a terrible person. She didn't do that. She put together these 8 characters, which is a compilation of lots of people she talked to. But yeah, we approached her and said, if you could put this together, that would be great.
And I guess the idea is everybody has a point of view, and every point of view deserves to be heard.
Absolutely, and interesting. I mean, because you hear the racial bias of somebody. Young guy, and then you hear from this minister on the streets and guy that runs a barber shop, and all those points of view, and what makes up the urban landscape, and that's the story she was telling.
So now this was performed at the Rep, was it not?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
That was the world premiere, and now it's in New York. So what's the goal? Is the goal ultimately to get it on Broadway, or? What?
I don't. Well, certainly out of our hands. I don't know. I don't know that it has the commercial heft to do that. To fill a Broadway theater, but it might. You know, the story is so unique and Dale is so fantastic that some commercial producer could look at, you know, the accumulated reviews and say, oh, there's an audience for this, you know, in the commercial sector. But I don't know. That's in commercial Broadway terms.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
Stephen Wolf, what's going on at the Rep we should know about?
Well, we're about to open The Humans, play that won the Tony last year for Best Play. I'm directing it. We start the end of next week, Feb 7, and goes through March 4th. Really unique story about a family coming together for Thanksgiving dinner and all the things that happen, and the mysteries of a family, the ordinariness of the family, and their tensions. Stephen Karam, who wrote it, created a world which has, in this apartment, very odd sounds. Sometimes you think you might be in a ghost story. Otherwise, you're just watching a family come together and deal with their lives. It's the wonder is the writing and the ordinariness and how human everything is. And that's on the main stage, Feb 7, March 4th. And we follow that on the main stage with Born Yesterday, you know, fantastic American comedy, March 14th to April 8th. And then in the studio, March 7th to March 25th, a unique offering that's a little complicated to explain called Caught. That's going to intrigue people in that small space and be unlike anything they've seen before.
All right, Stephen Wolf, artistic director at the Rep, a true St. Louis treasure. Thanks for coming on, and good luck with everything, and congratulations on the success of the one-woman play Until the Flood, which is getting rave reviews. Stephen, have a good day. Thanks for checking in.
Thanks.